going to get toaster strudels right as we start recording.
Put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Perfect.
This is the second episode of, I forgot her name.
Distasteful Departure.
Yeah, that one. Joe, you'll like the original name I had for our podcast. It was called Journey to the N-Word. And we were saying it was just going to be a lead up to the first time you were a guest here. Oh. And I was like, we'll get it right off the bat.
Thanks, man. I like the word nigger, and I use it often.
All right, journey ended.
Yeah, that was it. Just a short trip.
That was actually just for you.
All right, that's the end of the podcast, guys. Thanks. See you next time. James, introduce the guest.
So we've got my roommate and longtime friend Joe, who's no longer my roommate after this weekend.
Broke up.
The last day.
Yeah, we broke up. His dick was too big for me, and finding a littler dick boyfriend.
And uncircumcised.
Yes.
Yeah, we just found that out today.
Well, that's why he's moving to Colorado. They got smaller ones there.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying mine was big?
No,
Thanks,
I'm
man.
saying
You're
he's
the
going
first person
somewhere.
that's ever said that.
No, I think he's saying he's just like looking. There has to be a smaller dick.
Just
Wait a
to get
minute,
this
let
out
me-
there. I'm not sure why, as a, in quote, straight male, you're worried about my penis size.
In quote, straight male, I'm not. I didn't talk about it.
He's not straight male, or
I'm not sure. I don't think he knows how the quotes work.
Hey,
That's good.
I've already been drinking this morning. It is what it is.
And to my right over here is Evan Bontrager, longtime friend, degenerate, and avid
Horrible.
meth user.
I was originally going to do this introduction of Joe that was going to be the new head of the Denver chapter of Antifa because I know how much you would enjoy that. But we won't put his business out there.
Oh, dude, fuck. I actually felt like I was doing something super illegal a couple weeks ago when I opened your mail, and there's, like, magazines, and they're, like, high-capacity magazines.
Wait.
And then I get a call from him, and he's like, hey, can you ship these down to me in Colorado? They don't let us buy them here. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
So AR-15 magazines in Colorado, you can only buy 10 rounds. And that's, yeah, and so packing the 10-round ones.
Did they do that after the Batman fiasco?
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, and you're only allowed to have, like, I think a couple in your possession or something like that. So
Well, they're cutting down on a lot of states. Oregon just hasn't been one of them yet.
yeah, Oregon's still pretty liberal with that. I mean, even though Oregon has so many liberals in it, we're like...
It's two different definitions.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, like, generally you think of, like, being liberal, like, they try to shut those things down. Like, California is a largely liberal state, and they'll try to work on that. But they, in Oregon, we tend to be, fiscally conservative, socially liberal. And, like, that's pretty normal. Like, Kate, for example, she's ultra-liberal, always votes liberal, goes out shooting every weekend. Mm-hmm.
And fly fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Pacific
You're
Northwest.
catching and killing fish. You're
Like
shooting
most
shit.
of Washington and Oregon.
Oregon does have a very weird, like, as far as the political leanings go. You can never really guess what someone's going to be. I mean, obviously you can sometimes, but a lot of times you can't. You're surprised at this person's political leanings, but their social leanings are this way. It's very, very odd climate here as far as that goes.
The company I used to work at hired on 2 new executives, and they were, like, talking about their political outlook and stuff, and I was like, you do realize that there's, like, 30 people that work here, and you guys are probably the only 2 that are not, like, hardcore Republican? And they're like, oh, that's impossible. I'm like, no, pretty much. In aviation, I mean, you find that a lot.
Right.
So we, I don't know if you want to do a cancer update, Paco, or if there really is...
I was just waiting to see if anybody noticed that I hadn't talked yet. I'm actually still alive.
Oh, fuck, good bit.
There's Paco.
So these guys, I don't know if we've told you, but we usually end with at least 2 of us will be back next week. Mm-hmm. So.
I'm sorry.
Dude, any guest we have should be auditioning to take his spot. That's what the thing should be.
Okay.
Let the auditions begin.
No changes as far as status this week. I'm still waiting for a bunch of testing. But I did realize something this weekend because I was actually more like social this weekend than I've been in a while. I went out and saw a bunch of friends for the holidays, and I saw you guys. Went over to Lindsay's, saw Blake and Holly. Went over to Seth and Ruby's last night. So I did realize I'm gonna play the cancer card so fucking much. Like, this is coming out anytime I can. Like, I'm playing it all
Like,
day
do you
long.
get a Handy J or something?
Like, for Handy J's, like, we were talking about whether or not to go to
Reach
Colorado or
around.
Vegas last night, and I'm like, Vegas, I'm dying. Yeah, go with mine.
There was times
this.
last night over at Seth and Ruby. Paco would say something just outlandish or suggest something outlandish, and people would have uncomfortable laughter, and then you'd hear, "Well, I mean, if it's your dying wish, one of your dying wishes, I guess."
Exactly. Like I just realized over the weekend that I'm playing the I'm dying card all the time, and there's going to be some more and more legitimately morbid humor.
You must have got a fucking handy.
I talked about dying. I talked about dying a lot over the weekend.
Yeah, we
He's
did.
pretty
A lot of
hyper, isn't he?
mortality
Yeah, and
talk.
it's not depressing for everyone
He's a
around
little
you.
refreshed. Like
It's
he
all
just,
that-
had a nice release this weekend, I think.
He's hyper from all that sugar jizz.
Want
He
me
just
to teach you how to
used on top of those
masturbate?
pastries.
Hey, you showed me that last night, and it was an Indian burn.
Oh shit!
That's
So-
not how I remember it.
You're finding out more stuff this week, though. Is that when you start your?
Yeah. I should get a call tomorrow to schedule the biopsy and PET scan. I'm going to biopsy my lungs, small needle biopsy, so they'll jam a needle into my lung.
Is the PET
Well,
scan the
cells.
one where they make you drink the dye or something?
It's
and
the
then-
radioactive sugar.
Yeah.
So they give it to you, and then they make you lay perfectly still for like an hour, so none of your body is in demand of sugar except the cancer cells.
And then what do? They
And
do
then
a
they-
scan of
then
it,
they
and
do
it
a
sucks
CT.
to the cancer cells, so they see where
It's
it's
Yeah, the
like
at.
bright
cancers glow.
spots.
The cancer
Yeah,
cells
okay.
glow. Yeah. So the bright spots.
They
So
glow.
what they're looking for is the if we can find a brighter spot in my lungs, they're going to shoot for that for the biopsy because it'll get a more accurate and better result.
So if
it's
the
more
cancer
advanced.
feeds off sugar, you're making sure not to eat very much sugar.
No, I mean Mountain Dew and Coaster Strudels right now.
Yeah.
He actually is.
Just checking.
Yeah.
And apple suckers.
Hey, your whole
every
body
5
feeds off of
minutes.
sugar. It's not, you know,
Yeah, but if you lower your intake of sugar, can that positively affect it?
probably. I don't
Depending on who you ask. Sure.
Do you want to lower your
Yeah,
sugar
there's
intake?
like I'm gonna live the way I want. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm dying, Joe.
Well,
But maybe not.
You might be not dying if you stop
Joe
eating sugar.
spends a couple of months in Colorado and he comes back a bleeding heart liberal. He's all about natural.
Don't
freaking-
talk to me about alternative medicines.
Joe's got essential oils right
So-
now, rubbing them all over his body.
I was my sister Ruby introduced me to some of her friends, and the husband when I first met him was like on his deathbed dying. He had some like leukemia, and he was like they drug him out for like a last hurrah kind of thing, and he was not doing good. He was walking with a cane. And then he started taking those like CBD oils, like the what's it called,
Yeah.
like the Ron,
Cannabis oils,
Ron
yeah.
Jeremy oils or something like that.
Not Ron Jeremy.
Wait a
Ron
minute.
Jeremy would be like.
I know how
different
you know
infomercials.
you like Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, it's something like that. I can't remember, but so when I saw him just now on Thanksgiving, that's the first time I've seen him in 6 months.
Doing better.
He was full of life, talking, hanging out, playing with his kid on the floor. Like he could probably go for a run now. And 6 months ago, he had a
What did he have?
So
he had some kind of leukemia or something. It was a cancer, and it was in his spine, his kidneys, and like his blood or something like that. I'm definitely screwing up the details, but he started taking those.
CBD oil.
Yeah, but there's a name for it that everyone
Yeah, there's
uses. It's
somebody's
called
name.
like it's called like
somebody's.
Okay.
yeah, and
No,
they call it like
it's a-
RLS oil
Hold
or
on,
something
yeah,
like
I got
that.
Google.
And so he was. I was asking about those at that time because I was curious because I'm a type 2 diabetic. If I could
If
get
you can
some
take something that's going to help you.
that would help me because if I can get my pancreas functioning well and healthy, which I'm now at, I haven't had to take medicine at all.
Yeah.
I haven't even taken metformin, which is like a helping drug. I haven't taken that in 3 weeks, and my last 30-day supply lasted me 3 months.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And then I haven't actually injected in over 10 months insulin.
Damn.
Well, this
So-
is the thing about the CBD oils is a lot of people look down on it because they look at it as cannabis, and people don't, it's not smoking
But the
cannabis.
one he's
it's not
taking-
smoking cannabis though. It's taking the oils out of the drug itself and actually using it for medical use. And people don't, but
Yeah, it doesn't even get you high.
it
Like
gets
the CBD doesn't-
misconstrued.
There's nothing psychoactive in what he's taking.
Exactly.
And he said no matter how much he takes, he wouldn't get high from it.
Yeah.
And that's not what he's using it for.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'll tell you
No.
this. So this year at our family salmon fishing trip that we usually go on, I go with it every year with my stepdad, and so we're in Astoria. We're just hanging out or whatever, and he starts talking. Actually, he started talking to my uncle about it, and my uncle brought up to the fact of him. So my stepdad, he gets tremors every once in a while. And he'll start shaking and stuff like that. Like it's uncontrollable shakes. He had a seizure not too long ago, and literally just dropped in the middle of the store. And my mom
Crazy.
freaked out. I mean, it was crazy. And to me, my stepdad's always been a very healthy person. I mean, he drinks, don't get me wrong, but that's it. I mean, completely against weed, completely against anything like that. You know, me growing up as a kid, that I smoked weed ever since first time I smoked weed was 3rd grade. You know,
Jesus Christ.
I know, it's ridiculous.
That's pretty young.
Yeah.
3rd grade.
We did say you were degenerate when we were introducing
Hey,
you.
listen, and I have used meth, but I am not. That's been 15 years ago. But
I actually forgot about when I made.
But
that
no,
joke,
I've
by the
been
way,
I've
so.
been through all of it. I've seen all of it, and I've been through all of it. I still smoke pot to this day. I have slowed down just because of my own intake, and really, I don't need it as much as I thought I did a long time ago. But my stepdad came to me and my uncle, and he said, you know, we started talking about it, and he saw one of the medical marijuana stores across the street in Astoria, and they don't have those in Texas. You know, that's not legal down there. And he's like, can you just go in there and get something? Do you think there's something in there? And so my uncle is a diabetic, and he started taking CBD oils, and it has helped with his diabetic. And I believe he's a type 2 or I think he's type 2. I don't know. What's the worst one?
Type 1 is that you need
Insulin.
supplement insulin.
Your
body's not producing.
So
any.
he does have to check his blood sugar, and he does
Everybody
have to
does
take
that.
supplement insulin.
So
he's probably a type 1.
Right. So a type 2 means that you're insulin resistant.
Right.
And that your pancreas has had to work so hard.
Okay.
That it's either
Giving
shut
out,
itself
yeah, or
down.
shutting down.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's probably a type 1 because he takes supplement insulin. He has to check his blood sugar. And he's young, dude. He's 46, something like that, 47, and not a big man. He's skinny just like I am. He's the owner of my grandpa's landscaping company. He's who I bought my trucks from. Mm-hmm. And so he told my stepdad, you know, I take this stuff just because it helps me. And he actually does the pen, which is like a vaporizer pen, whatever. You can take it orally. You can do it by the pen. The oils usually you take I think you do them by the pen.
I've seen a lot of people do them in tinctures, just
Tinctures,
like drops.
yeah,
or
just
whatever.
drops.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess it depends on however you want to do it. But my stepdad, this is crazy to me. He walks over to the freaking weed store, and this, my whole life, you know, I've grown up, and he's always been against it. And he walks over there and goes and buys some CBD oil. But the simple fact is he realizes that it could help.
Right.
You know, it's not the fact of looking at it as a bad thing anymore. It's looking at the fact of it's something that could help you. And people don't look at it like that when really, when you're in that factor of needing that kind of medical usage, to be able to get it over the counter at a place instead of having to go to a pharmacy and get something under the counter or go to a doctor and get it prescribed. And on top of that, it's less money and it's natural.
Yeah. That's been a hard stigma.
Did you want to move out to Colorado?
Yeah.
What's that?
Dude, it got
And
me
it's
through.
natural.
It got me through my esophageal cancer. Weed was the only
I was
thing
going to
that allowed me
ask
to
you,
eat.
that was my next question, is if you've tried that.
Because when I got the esophageal cancer and it was blocking my stomach, and I was on chemo and they were radiating my actual stomach, so I was being burned on the inside and I was nauseous all the time.
You couldn't eat for shit, I bet.
Couldn't eat anything. Like eating was the worst possible thing I could do, unless I smoked a joint.
Yep, and it give you that want for food.
Yeah, it was the munchies.
You get
and,
the munchies again.
And I don't think the CBD oil would have worked for that circumstance.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I needed the.
You
I
needed that
the
weed smoking
THC.
munchies.
I needed the munchies.
Yeah,
I
the
needed
CBD oil doesn't do that.
I needed my brain to not give a shit about the nausea.
Yeah,
You know?
CBD oil is more of a body high.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of a body high.
I got
into-
some of that, but it didn't. I felt nothing when I tried it.
Right.
And
been
you know, like I said,
slightly
I haven't used.
past
I don't
the
use it
stigmata
now,
of
and I
being
didn't need it for my
illegal for so
eye
long.
because I'm not. You know, I'm nauseous all the time now, but that's a whole other story.
Right.
But my eye cancer, I haven't needed it for because it's my eye.
I was gonna say your eye cancer is probably part of your nausea because it's right there connected with the nasal passage, right?
Could you drop drips in
Well,
there?
it could be, but the nausea is based. This is just leftover stuff from the esophageal stuff. I mean, I don't have a stomach, so
Yeah.
my body, every day it's different. It's
Now,
just a crapshoot about what
my
I can
question
eat.
is this: because your eye looks okay, but you wear the eye patch, but I can obviously tell that you like light bugs the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's
Is
that's
that why
what
you
the eye
wear
patch.
it?
So
Because
if I was
it's-
totally blind, I wouldn't need the eye patch.
Yeah.
If it was just black, then I'd just it'd be just
yeah,
like having
but
the
you
eye
have
patch.
borderline, so
The
you can
problem
still
is-
see the light.
I get light intake. It's actually, I guess if you wanted to give an update on the week, my eyesight's getting worse again. It's very dark right now, but I got flashers. Like if somebody's like push on your eye, you know, and then let it go. And
Yeah,
that
yeah, Bing.
yeah. all the time. So it's like there's a siren right outside my right eye,
Right.
just flashing, and it's super annoying. And my eyes can't adjust for each other because they're so far off.
Oh yeah.
So that's why
equilibrium's like.
That's why I've been rocking. That's why I've been rocking the
shit,
patch.
gives you vertigo and everything
Yeah.
else.
If I black out my bad eye, then I don't have to worry about holding it closed while I'm looking at stuff. And
Yeah, that's just uncomfortable at that point too.
Yeah.
It's better to just black it out so you don't have
yeah,
to mess
exactly.
with it.
If I told my my mom this the other day that if I don't get my sight back at all, like if I don't get functional vision back, I hope I go totally blind
Yeah,
because otherwise I'm stuck with the patch forever.
yeah. I don't know. I think
You
the
just
patch
take it
looks
out.
kind of cool, dude.
They could probably shut down your vision in that eye.
Yeah. Like
Or we
something
could
like
just
that.
take a melon
Yeah, it
scooper
could be
to
a
it.
chain reaction.
You guys ever seen Hostel?
Yeah.
The movie.
Remember the
blowtorch?
blowtorch?
Oh
When it
my
melts the
God.
eyeball.
Oh, dude.
That was probably the most fucked up thing I saw in a movie at that point when that happened.
I would do it for you.
You blow torch my eyeball.
Yeah.
How about you take out the torch part of that sentence and tell me what you do for me?
And the eyeball part.
I don't know. I know
All
a guy.
right.
I know a guy that shot
You know
himself.
you can pop an eyeball out with a spoon, right?
You guys want to?
Let's do it right now live on the podcast.
I can keep the camera on stream. We can start streaming.
And
this.
they say you can just pop them right out with a spoon.
I already told Paco I was going to kill him on the air if there was no hope. I'd just murder him on the air.
Oh,
Not dying
I
witch.
said what I did. I said it last week or the week before, and maybe when we're not releasing that. I'm totally live. I'm totally broadcasting my death on Twitch.
Live stream.
Jesus Christ.
Live
They,
streaming.
they have a murder-suicide pact going on, so.
Well, it's more just a murder at this point.
If I-
It's like,
well,
I'm not dying over this shit.
I changed my mind since I was kind of drunk that day.
Well, I think Paco's going to kill both of us and then himself.
I've actually been calling your wife Blake about about her what she's learned about murdering you.
Oh, yeah. Get some pointers.
Yeah.
So James and I have a murder-suicide pact of sorts.
Oh, yeah?
Does it involve falling in love with Evan?
No, it involves that if I die first, under no circumstance does he let anybody get a hold of my laptop without breaking it first.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to melt that shit down.
Pretty
We actually
standard.
had a pretty elaborate...
standard bro code.
I decided when I start to get really sick, every day I'm going to post on Facebook if I die today and then pick a name and say this person did it.
It's your fault.
It's your
This
fault.
guy did it.
Like
How do you feel about
if I
letting
die
us-
today, James did it.
How do you feel about letting us have you taxidermied? And then just...
You guys want to stuff me?
Yeah, we'll just keep you around
Where,
for a while.
would you pass me? Like,
And then we'll put a,
would I like
we'll
rotate
put a
between
flashlight
homes,
in
or
the
where would I
southern
stay?
hemisphere.
Well, it'd be like Weekend at Bernie's.
So the problem I have with that, I don't have a problem with it per se. Like, if you guys want to stuff me and then pass me around or whatever, whatever, I don't care. The issue I have with it is eventually I'm just gonna wind up in somebody's fucking closet.
No, we'll totally do it
Could be an attic.
like Rowdy on Scrubs,
Yeah.
where we'll be like down Rowdy, bad dog.
Paco, don't touch her there.
No,
Yeah.
but we should get life-size cardboard cutouts made of you first. Have a few
Scare
of
the
those
shit out of
laying around
everybody
so we
with
can
it.
still bring you to parties and shit.
So you guys could like torture
We'll just-
my mother when I die.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to set up
Invite her
cardboards in
over.
all of her hallways. in every
Paco's
room.
here.
like start
What's
putting
wrong with you?
putting like life-size cardboard cutouts
They're
outside
like, "We don't know."
outside her like living room window so she gets up in the morning and I'm standing there. So fucked up, you
This
guys.
is so fucking great.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, we could put a hinge arm
This summer.
or a legit Weekend at Bernie's setup with the
Yeah.
strings where
Yeah.
he's sitting out the
Yeah.
table and he pulls it and
Yeah.
waves.
We'll get you laid, even after you're dead.
That
Yeah,
happens.
but in Weekend at Bernie's, you got to pull the same shit because when the music comes on, Bernie starts dancing. And Bernie just does his thing.
That's true.
Fucking, he doesn't sit in a chair anymore. He
Yeah,
does
he's a
his
witch
thing.
doctor.
So you got to make that promise to us that you're actually going to start dancing when we put music
We'll
on.
let you choose the pose that we taxidermy you in because you're going to be stuck like that.
I vote all fours.
I think it's going to be one of these.
Yeah, you'll be
Indian
masturbating.
burn.
Indian burn.
You guys
You want one?
cut one of my legs off so I can say, you stuck on my thumb, Maurice.
Suck on my stuff. I'm good for the moment. I got a Red Bull still.
Paco?
Why is
Well-
that green Red Bull? I got
Oh,
work
it's
today.
fucking-
So.
have you not had the kiwi apple fucking Red Bulls?
No.
It's
You know what?
the best fucking Red Bull that ever existed.
I never like any of the
Yeah.
new
I don't
shit
either.
they make.
I've always
They
been down
taste
with
like
the original
shit
flavor.
except for this one.
You know what's always the worst is when they try to make like lemon flavored or something.
Oh, yeah.
It tastes just
Grapefruit or
weird.
lemon or-
yeah.
I was in the
fuck
store the other day, and there's like 15 different Mountain Dews now. There's some in like tall boy cans that are some kind of private reserve, handcrafted.
This was aged in
Craft-
oak barrels
Craft
for
Mountain
15
Dew.
years.
What the fuck is this?
Oregon Mountain Dew.
Paco would buy
Mountain Dew
into that.
micro brew.
I like classic Mountain Dew.
Who doesn't, dude?
Mountain Dew.
I even like the Code Red.
Mountain Dew Classic.
When I was a kid, I gave up Mountain Dew for Surge, and I saw it's back now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
they
because
have-
I had a
Surge came
Surge
out and it was
just
2
recently.
bottles for $1.
It was
And
not good.
Mountain Dew was still 99 cents for a
Dude,
bottle.
when Surge first came out, it was like 4 cents a can.
That's
well,
true.
there was that was a pretty big thing. It was like that and Jolt Cola.
Yeah,
You remember that?
Jolt was a shit.
Yeah.
We
Joe
got
was
a
the
surge
shit.
machine. We got a surge machine at my high school, and man, we thought we came the fuck up when we got that surge machine.
You like hang out in front of it, balling out.
Oh,
It
yeah.
had 3 surge
You
buttons
go to
on the
freaking
machine.
class and you're
You
shaking.
just stand out there. You just stand out there with 4 pennies, like, baby, can I buy you a soda?
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, Joe, talk about. Tell us how Colorado's doing. Who you fucking? Guy, gal?
Nobody.
Swinging both ways.
I'll take anything right now, man. It's been a while. So I moved out there beginning of summer, basically, and I took a job that was. I basically run my own company as a 1099 employee. I could hire people, and I sell basically commercial building repairs that happen after hail damage. And it was a lot of work for not a lot of reward because the turnover takes so long. Like the first job I sold out there, I still haven't gotten paid for, and that was in June. I won't get paid for it until like February.
Fuck.
Because they have to go through the whole, it takes time for all the inspections. They do a forensic analysis of the building. They do all these like FLIR image pictures, submit that to get it all paid for properly, and then I get paid once the job's closed. That job's not going to close between that time and weather and all that until like February.
So there's like a huge ramp up to that.
Right, but
that
when I
business.
do get paid, like basically my 8 hours worth of work will pay me like 15 grand. So it's that part of it is really great, and there's guys that work that for like a storm will happen, they'll work that for like 3 months, and then they don't work for the rest of the year because you can make so much money in 3 months. You just got to have that income already rolling in to offset your lifestyle. So I needed a 9 to 5. And so I switched over to another company that does residential roofing, and they had a VP position open.
So you switched from the original company you were going to start with there when you went there? You
Well,
switched to a different
I
company?
still technically work for that company. I'm
But
just
he's a private
because I'm a
contractor.
private contractor.
Okay.
I'm just
You're
not.
subbing.
And I told him once September comes and the weather starts going down, I'm not going to be really working there.
Well, here's my question. So you're a private contractor. You had to go and get your contracting license?
No,
there?
no, you just because
So-
all I'm doing is the sales.
So they just 1099 you. You don't have to be a contractor to do sales.
They do all
You
the
have to
contracting.
you have to be
You're
a
not an
contractor to
LLC
do the
or
job.
Anything. You.
I'm an LLC
You're an-
for
you're
that
an
company.
LLC.
For that company. Now the company I work for now, that I'm working 9 to 5, they needed basically somebody to run the day to day of the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I used to do for another company, and it kind of fit in. My brother-in-law, he's really well connected in the construction industry in Colorado, and he's like, I know a guy. I was here visiting. I called the guy, and he was like, yeah, can you be here tomorrow? I was like, I'm in Oregon. I was like, I'll have to book a flight back. But I was like, I could be there by Friday. Went, met with him, interviewed all that. And so in that process, I took a 9 to 5 job basically,
Right.
which it's not bad. It's a good job. It's a good company. They have a great reputation, but I live in Denver where there's, a few million people that I don't know.
Yeah.
And the only saving grace right now is that I'm living in Colorado Springs, driving up to Denver. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hour drive in the morning. I work my 8 or 9 hours that day, and then I drive 2 hours home. So my day is full in the weekdays. And on the weekends, I hang out with my sister, her husband, and their kids. And I mean, that part's entertaining. They have some really great friends I've met and hung out with them, but
Sure.
it's been pretty boring over there. Here in Bend, I know everybody.
Right.
You
There's always
know.
something to do.
Right.
That's home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And the weather's been holding out real nice there, though. It's been high 60s, low 70s, so
Damn.
that's not bad, But it's a different lifestyle there.
How does Colorado Springs itself? How does it compare to Bend? I've always heard. I know some people who live there, and they've always compared it to here.
I would say it's really similar in lifestyle. There's 2 big Air Force bases there, and so you have a lot of people that are kind of rotating in and out.
Right.
And it was actually voted last year as the most conservative city in the country.
Really?
Does it have the same amenities though? People come here for the simple fact of Central Oregon. You can legitimately go from Bend and you can go 15, 20 miles east, and you'll be in the high desert. Completely high desert, different territory. Or you can go 15, 20 miles west, and you'll be up in the lush, beautiful, mountains with the high lakes and snowboarding, and everything like that.
That part of Colorado is so high in altitude. There's not a ton of forest because we're like at the tree line and above.
Right.
I feel like you're at the mountains everywhere.
Yeah,
in
but
Colorado.
they have like they have a
Colorado
huge
Rockies,
huge outdoor lifestyle. So there's a lot of hiking. There's a lot of like mountain biking. Garden of the Gods is like 15 minutes
They
away.
got beautiful lakes
I want to
around
see
you,
that.
close.
That is one of the places I want to see.
I was
We went through there.
I've seen my cousin's mom. I don't know what that makes her to me. Lives there, but
That would be your.
but it's like
Yeah.
a weird marriage thing and an adoption thing. But
okay.
anyway, she lives there, and I saw some pictures on Facebook of that place, and it's just like, holy shit,
So
it's gorgeous.
it is gorgeous, and I was up there mountain biking in there 2 or 3 weeks ago with my brother-in-law, and there's tons of trails where it's designated for that, so you're not hurting it. But it's super beautiful. It's these natural rock formations that were as the Rockies were formed.
Oh right.
Basically the tectonic plates pushed together and lifted up, and that's where we got the Rockies from. These rocks that were all horizontal moved vertical. So like if you look at it from above, it looks like somebody just took rocks like Stonehenge style and poked them in the ground.
Poked them in.
It's real cool, and it's eroded at the point where you see a lot of the sedimentary layers, which looks really cool. And it's super beautiful in there. There's just lots of vegetation. There's wild animals.
What's amazing is to see those mountain goats on the side of those cliff sides. How the hell did you get up there?
Yeah.
And they're just standing there looking out, and they'll be thousands of feet up, and they're just on one little pop out on that shale rock side that's just like. You look at it and you're like, one of the best rock climbers in the world couldn't even get up there.
They got hooves, dude.
Yeah, but if
that
you've
doesn't
ever
make sense to me of how they hang on the fuck.
if you've ever actually felt one of those, there's two types of goats that do that. There's the big horn sheep, and then there's a mountain goat, which is the white ones with they got little horns that go back, but they're really furry, and so on their paws they're actually hoofs. Their hoofs, if you push on them, they're like sponges.
Oh yeah.
You can literally push into them, and they grab and grip and mold. They're not hard.
Yeah, there's
like
soft hoof.
like you would see like a deer or an elk or something like that.
I always pictured like a horse hoof that's
They're
hard as
very
fuck.
spongy.
How do you catch a goat?
You don't catch them.
Shoot them.
Yeah, you shoot them.
You don't rope them?
Yeah, we don't catch deer either.
Goat roper?
No, you shoot them and then they fall.
I don't know if there's mountain goats in the Garden of the Gods because that part isn't super high, but they have this part.
Colorado,
This town
I bet you there are.
this town right next to them is called Manitou Springs, which is probably one of my favorite places I've ever been.
Doll sheep, that's what they're called. Doll sheep is the white ones.
I was curious about that.
I was thinking about it. Listen, it just popped into my head.
They make a
So-
really weird
Yeah,
scream when you
that's
sneak up
pretty
on them
cool.
behind.
Stay tuned in 10 minutes for another
really
kind of
dull.
sheep.
They're
Manitou-
very docile, easy to control.
Manitou Springs is this town that's been there since like turn of the century, maybe even before, and it was a big gold rush town. But they went through and like drilled copper pipes underground to find water, and there's 9, I think, springs throughout town.
You were showing me those.
In each spring, and they
Perfect,
built these.
beautiful clear water.
Yeah, they built these like
Weird.
these statues around them and stuff, and the statues now have like white like calcium buildup running down from the years of the minerals, like,
Right.
and it just flows out of these spigots, and people go around and collect it, and it's naturally effervescent.
It's
And
almost like sparkling kind of.
Each-
It's
yeah,
like
each-
a battery or something.
yeah, it's
like-
carbonated. So the furthest
Like
fountain
alkaline.
away
Yeah.
from each other, is maybe like less than a mile, but the water in all the fountains tastes a little bit different.
Yeah, each one's different for sure.
Yeah, and the water that you're getting is, been down underground, not visible to light for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from this like natural underground spring and the way it carbonates and stuff. And it's a little walking tour, and it's a little town that's real neat, like kind of like Sisters. But
It's
that-
basically down to their water table.
So that town is at the base of Pikes Peak.
Oh.
So
Oh, you were telling me about
Yeah,
that too.
fucking
Yeah, that's
So-
so you remember Pikes Peak on
Yeah.
Gran Turismo?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. That
So-
was the one video
Shit,
game that I
Suzuki
played.
Escudo.
That is the one video game I played. Never been into video games, but when we got to Gran Turismo, we got the little freak. Me and Rick, when we were
Suzuki
living
Escudo.
together,
Suzuki
we got
Escudo.
the
Two
steering wheel.
V6s?
with the shifter and the gas pedal. And dude, we would sit there. I'd sit there for hours and play Gran Turismo. Me and Rich, we'd be in 200 lap races.
The brand new one just came out. Gran Turismo Sport.
Did it really?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
See, now that's a video game I could play.
You might be a little behind though. If Gran Turismo 2 was the last one you played.
You
No,
can buy
Gran Turismo one.
This is fine.
There might have been two. Was two the one that had
official
Pikes
steering
Peak? I
wheel
don't
for that
remember.
game's like $800.
Yeah, but it has like full feedback though. Like
Yeah.
when you hit
Yeah.
corners, it pushes back against you like a real car would. And
Yeah, so you're
full car
actually
sim,
correcting.
Oh yeah.
So in this town, that was the first town to really start propagating like legal weed. Because in Colorado Springs, it's illegal. It's still in that
Oh, really?
their community, but
So they're like some of like sisters.
Like
yeah.
sisters,
So
yeah.
so everybody
yeah.
drives over to Manitou, and I remember I was up there for the Pikes Peak hill climb 2 years ago for work, and we went up there, and the hotel we stayed at is right next to this like dispensary, and the town is like half the size of Sisters and has like 10 dispensaries or something crazy. And I see this one that
Like
right
half
next to
the
our
town.
hotel,
Their
and it
whole
says
economy, yeah.
it says it's got this huge parking lot. It says overflow parking across the street, and I'm laughing about it. They needed that second parking lot, probably a third.
No shit.
Everybody comes because it's illegal in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Comes there to buy it.
Crazy.
Good lord, I can only imagine the lines in those stores.
You know, I think they're busy enough and well organized enough. Plus, you know,
That's the one thing I like about the dispensaries here. Like you walk in, I don't want to stand there outside and then people want to talk to you and like
they make
I don't
you
want
sit
to
in the
talk to you
fucking
about the
waiting
weed
room
and shit
to
that
get
I'm
called
getting.
back in.
I'm coming in here to get some weed and I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
out. You know, I'm not trying to have a conversation. I'll bullshit with the person.
I
behind
got
the
this
counter.
feeling that Evan's getting all kind of like high and mighty. Like, I don't want to talk to you fucking drug addicts.
Well, I'm gonna put it this way: 9 times out of 10, I'm a really good judge of character. If it's somebody I want to talk to, I'll sit there and talk to them. But 90% of the time, when they come strolling in there, it ain't somebody you want to talk to.
No.
You know, and then you're listening to them bitch about the line that there is. You know, that's really what
Yeah.
it is. I can't believe I'm waiting this
it's like,
long.
smoke some pot and calm down.
Yeah, you know, you should have smoked before you came in here, brother. I'm calm.
When they first switched it to recreational and you could go in and buy, like Bloomwell had the waiting area and they can only have 3 or 4 people in the
Yeah.
back at one time, so you're sitting out in the fucking waiting area. When
Can-
Tokyo Starfish opened on the south end, dude, it was like I walked in there one time and was like, I'm never going anywhere else to buy weed.
You just walk
Dude,
in and
I
you're
only
open to
go-
the weed
Is
aisle.
it like the Best Buy of weed stores?
It's
I
just
only go to
open
Fifth
and
Element.
there's counters everywhere.
I only go to Fifth Element because
Fifth
it's
Element.
small. It's down in a little corner. You can get in there. You can get out.
Where's that one at?
They open at 9. So right past Big Country RV on the north end of town.
Oh, okay.
For
Down
so
that
long-
that little cul-de-sac
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
For so long, you've bought weed from like a guy that
Yeah,
you
like
know.
Evan.
and
Yeah.
it's a bit in the
So you
dark-
don't even understand.
Right,
The first time I stepped foot in one of those places, it was one of these.
we're
Like you're like,
yeah, we're trained to like
Is this real?
we're trained to buy weed in weird ways, right?
you don't know. You're almost doing double Dutch. You know, like do I go? Do I not? Do I go? Do I not?
I feel like I'm
do I
gonna
go?
get
Do I
tackled
not?
when I walk out of here.
You're like, all right, I'm going for it.
And then you're carrying
That
your
was
little
the-
paper bag out. And
that
you're
was
like,
the weirdest
Man,
one to
everybody
me.
knows what I got in this bag.
When you walk out with the bag and you see a cop like driving by the street, you
Like,
still
shit.
get a fucking feeling.
No,
Like,
I think so.
And then
so-
you wait. You'll wait
Given-
like 5 minutes in your car to make sure he's way down the road.
Given that
While you're
I know
drinking
a
beer.
stroke, I imagine the weirdest part of it now is like getting pulled over when your car reeks of weed
yeah.
and it's no big deal.
Well, dude, no. When I went through that fucking DUI
No, it is a
class,
big deal
that's the
because
problem.
you're not
is-
allowed. You're not allowed to smoke in the car.
Yeah,
so if
no,
a
no,
cop
but
pulls
like,
you
but like,
over
you're,
and
like you
asks
pick it up from the store. So I'm saying you got like a bag.
Yeah. No, but
fresh
it can't smell like
fucking
burnt
green.
weed. It can smell like fresh weed.
Oh, yeah.
But it can't smell like burnt weed.
But you couldn't smell like fresh weed back in the day. Like,
No,
no,
that's
dude. No, fresh weed back in the day, they smelled it. You're smuggling some
It's
shit.
fucked
you
for
know?
the it's fucked for the DUI thing, man. Like they were telling
Yeah.
us during my last DUI class that
If you ever get pulled over, you tell them, no, I have not smoked in the last day and a half.
yeah,
Period.
but the problem is the right now, as of 6 months ago when I finished that class, is the way that they tested you for DUI was they brought a specialist out who would check your eyes, your tongue, inside your mouth, and if he thought for any reason that you might be high, it's a piss test. And
Yeah.
if you test positive from the last 30 days of smoking weed, you got a fucking DUI.
Yeah, that's-
even
and
if
that's
you-
Wow,
bullshit.
they bring a specialist out
they bring a
now.
specialist out, yeah.
That's the funny thing
Who's
is-
this guy?
Did you know?
He's
did
a
you
real
know
piece
that
of
when-
shit.
All
That's
of
who
them,
he
all of
is.
them are being trained. Like they have.
Look,
a
I want
set
to
of,
do
like,
that.
6
I want to be
guys
like the
who
guy
are
that's like, you're
specialists,
fucking
but
stoned.
They all had to go through specialty
freaking
training
people
for
out.
the things to look for
Okay.
for actively being high.
That
And
makes
it's like
sense.
certain things happen on your tongue, I guess, when you're actively high, or the roof of your mouth.
Yeah.
And
Well,
things
I don't
in
know,
your
man.
eyes and-
I got pulled over a few weeks ago. High as shit. Cop never knew.
Yeah.
Just talked
Well-
to me, ran my
Well,
shit.
that's
You also
because
smoke
some
weed
people-
regularly to
some
the point
people-
I would never know when you're
Yes.
high. Like,
I'm high as fuck right now.
I'm
Well,
telling
not
you,
now,
I'm
but I
high
was
as
when
shit
I got
right
here.
now. I was smoking pot out in the car before me and Joe walked in. Joe knows he was sitting right next to me. But the simple fact is this. It's all in moderation. If you can do it in moderation where you don't get completely blitzed out of your mind, smoking pot is smoking pot. You can smoke pot and not be mentally
Yeah,
but
you also
have
to do it
disabled.
enough to where it
You
doesn't
know?
fuck you up to the point.
That's
a
what I
good
mean.
point,
Yeah.
too.
You can smoke pot and not make yourself mentally disabled. You know, I smoke pot literally. I'll load a bowl and I don't even finish a bowl. I take 2-3 hits.
Yeah, that's
bowl
how I
goes
smoke.
back in the, you know, and I do the bowl lasts me 2-3 days.
Yeah,
You
reburn.
know,
That's what I do too. I
you
don't
know,
smoke an
but
entire bowl.
I don't smoke it to get blitzed out of my mind. I smoke pot because I like it and it calms me down a little bit. And especially like something like this. This is the first time I'm doing a podcast.
Right.
You know, I want it to be a little bit more on the level of just being calm instead of coming in here all, you know.
it brought you down from that meth high.
Yeah, dude.
And it helps you
Dude,
remember
the whole
all
night of
different
doing
breeds of
meth,
sheep.
the whole night of doing
goats.
meth, you know, and I was hiding it from my wife and shit. You know, it was crazy because I was in bed, I had to sleep, but I didn't sleep. It was weird. Shut the fuck up. But-
high as shit.
The simple fact is if you can do it in moderation, you can do it in moderation. It's just like drinking alcohol. If you can drink alcohol, drink a beer, and you can go and drink a beer, and then you're able to drive home, that's fine. But if you go because
No, that's not
you're-
fine.
No, if you go because your whole fucking goal is of getting drunk, then no, you shouldn't be driving home. But if you can go have a beer, anybody should be able to have a beer or two and not
Joe
get
just
drunk.
shit his pants.
No, I
If you're
didn't.
getting drunk off a beer or two, Joe shit his pants.
No, I did.
Oh.
Oh.
But if you're getting drunk off a beer or two, you really probably need to take a look at the simple fact of maybe you shouldn't be drinking beer.
Right.
You know? Or if you want
Maybe
to
you
get to
shouldn't be
that
such a little
level, you
bitch
need to
and
be
one or
drinking
two
beer
beers
at
is getting
home
drunk.
and get a little bit more used to it before you go out and start drinking it out in public and then want to drive home.
What have we always agreed upon as one of like the best feelings in the world, though, is
Blowjob.
driving around, drinking or driving, like driving down a dirt
Oh, yeah,
road
yeah.
out in the woods,
Dude,
and fucking
I-
open
Oh, yeah.
beer.
9
I
times
love
out
it.
of 10,
love
I'm telling you
high-speed
right
highway
now, 9
cruising.
times out of 10, I got an
After a
open
few
beer while
mixed
I'm
drinks.
driving.
I'm a
But
full-blown
I don't get
car
drunk.
chase.
Right.
You know, the
Yeah, you're
simple
not
fact
doing it
is,
for
no.
Yeah.
You stay drunk.
No, I don't, because I don't like being drunk. I don't like the factor of being drunk, but I like the taste of beer.
Just try to keep the tremors away. If you just like the taste of beer, then drink O'Doul's.
Try to
Or your
keep
whole
the
argument is
Tremors
invalid.
away.
It's true.
Yeah, I
Can I
mean,
steal one of your beers, by the
of
way?
course.
As we all drink beer at
As we're all drinking
10:26 in the morning.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I had a Greyhound this morning at about 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a breakfast beverage, dude.
And
Let's-
actually, I
let's slip
bought
through
beer at the
cracks.
store at 7:02.
So I was gonna say, I think the podcast should know what time it is right now for us while we're recording this. We've already been recording for probably like 45 minutes,
And
and it's 10:30 in the
and-
morning.
37 minutes.
boom.
We were supposed to have Bloody Marys, but Google fucking lied to me. Dude, Google
The
told
liquor
me.
store is not open that early.
Google told me
I
that
said
the
it last
east side
night.
was
If
open
we
at
want to
9
do that,
o'clock.
we should have got them last night.
Yeah,
They
I don't
were.
know.
I think they went to winter hours though.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not sure why you thought a liquor store would be open
hell
at
is
9 a.m.
that?
on
Winter
a
hours?
Sunday.
Because I Googled it.
Because you think because it's
Because I
colder
said-
outside, motherfuckers ain't gonna want to
They
drink.
changed their fucking hours though. For
The internet said so.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I straight up Googled it because I was like, do I need to go tonight or can I wait till in the morning? And so I Googled hours of all the liquor stores, and it said that the north one and the east one opened at 9 a.m.
Huh.
On their, like, hours
You know, I did
of
hear they were going to deregulize liquor stores in Oregon and sell it in grocery stores.
Is regularize a word?
They were supposed to be like up in front of the state senate or whatever.
That's how it is in
And
Texas.
I don't know if they
in
passed it or
Texas,
not.
they sell it in the grocery store.
California, too, yeah.
Costco
Well,
is like the best place
California's
to buy
got
liquor in
fucking
California.
drive-thru.
Oh, yeah,
fucking liquor
for sure.
stores.
Because
You drive through and buy your
Costco,
shit.
Yeah, that's what
Costco,
Arizona's
you can
got
go to
the
Costco,
drive-thru.
Right?
like
You're
a
just
handle
like, what?
of
Yeah.
vodka.
And it's all
Getting
like
great
change.
vodka.
Right.
When I was in
Bars.
Mexico, you could drive through liquor stores and order a drink, and they'd give you.
I know that. Yeah, that's
Here you
in
go.
Mexico. Though. I did that shit in Cancun, and that was fun. I mean,
Dude.
we were driving down the road on buses.
We went to.
Talking over each other on this doesn't come out well. You got two conversations going at the same time.
I apologize.
I didn't
Man,
mean to mess it up.
You ever
Alright.
listen to a podcast?
screwed up the whole podcast.
Awkward.
It's all
sounds.
ruined.
You just got fucking smacked.
We all need individual
Spanked a
mics.
little bit.
This needs to happen.
We all miss Papa Joe.
So yeah, no, Blake was
Grandpa
saying
Joe
the
over here.
Costco's you get high shelf,
yeah, yeah.
like top shelf liquor for.
Yeah, so there, Costco's, like, you could buy a handle of vodka at Costco for, however much it's going to be, $20 for like
Yeah.
a half gallon, right? And,
Is that what a handle is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is going to be like Grey Goose vodka, Belvedere vodka, because they just buy lots of a high-end manufacturer's product, and I wish Oregon would just do it. I know that the state makes a lot of money on taxes through their OLCC liquor stores, but screw it, dude. Make an alcohol tax that's like a little higher or something.
Right.
too.
The Costco in Colorado sells booze in there, and it's like a separate part of Costco
Right.
with its own entrance. But yeah, it's pretty cheap in there too. Like you get a half gallon of Grey Goose, which would usually be like what, $60-$70.
I have a
Like
legitimate
$45.
Right.
Is there Kirkland brand liquor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was talking
That's
about.
the
There's
Kirkland
Kirkland
brand whiskey
brand
is
beer.
apparently really fucking good, and it's like $20.
Well,
for
it's
a half
probably
gallon.
like Wild Turkey or something.
Well,
right?
all of their
Somebody's
stuff was if they had Kirkland brand in there, I didn't see it, but they also had like brands
Yeah,
that
you
we
could buy
buy.
Crown
Yeah.
Royal or whatever else there too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, the Kirkland brand has got good shit. Because even their shirts and their freaking jackets and stuff. Like
Oh, yeah.
normally, you go into another store and you're like, "Oh, it's the brand of the store. That's gonna be the cheap shit." They got nice stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just private labeled.
Yeah, but dude, you go in there,
Yeah, like
like
white
their
label or
undershirts,
whatever.
Kirkland brand undershirts, they're thick, they're nice.
Oh,
the
they're my
necks are
favorite
fit
undershirts.
tight.
I got tons of them. All my white tees.
They're the shit, you
Tons of
know.
'em.
And they're cheap.
Yeah.
These guys need to fucking be paying for our support of them now that we're talking
Seriously.
about it.
Yeah, and this portion of the podcast is brought to you today by Kirkland brand T-shirts.
Yeah. By
Let's make a
Costco.
point. We're not putting out Kirkland brand there. We're just saying they got nice
Yeah, it's
stuff.
good shit. I buy their socks. They're some of the best socks I get are the Kirkland brand ones.
Great socks, great T-shirts. Company hates minorities. We'll never get the sponsorship. Let's go.
My boss actually, the stand-on liquid paddle boards are supposed to be sold at like 26 Costco's.
Really?
Yeah, on the West Coast starting this summer.
The thing is, like, I don't see Kanye West balling out in some Kirkland shit.
Hell no. Dude.
So
The
it's-
problem
well,
is
it
you'll
probably
never
is.
see
You just-
the brand name on the back of his shirt because it's inside.
But they put it right across the front like those old Nike T-shirts.
We do know
He puts holes in
how
it.
much Joe wants to emulate Kanye West.
But I'm gonna say this: Kanye West.
You want to marry a Kardashian?
Have you seen his style line that he's came out with?
Yeah, Yeezy.
It's not good.
No.
Dude, those
It's not good
shoes-
at all.
If you pay $1,000 for a pair of Yeezys, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying nothing
Ugly
against
fucking
Kanye
shoes,
West.
too.
Whatever. He's doing his thing or whatever. But simple fact is he got laughed off of the showroom floor when they were doing, the, what do they call that? When models walk out,
Runway?
the runway. Yeah, the fashion runway.
Kanye,
they
if you
laughed
wanna-
him out of that shit.
if you want to come defend yourself on our podcast, you're welcome to join us.
Yeah, totally. Show up.
you sure you're not a hobbit?
So the funny thing about that, though, is like we look at Kanye West and go, "Oh, he's a clown," blah blah blah. My nephew, he's 15 years old. They like have the most respect for the kids that wear Yeezys at school, and like to the point where even the kids that have the rip-off Yeezys are
cool.
like the cool kids.
So Yeezys
Well,
are
yeah.
like we're like Jenkos and bomber jackets.
I don't even know
what.
what,
Yeah, and
what
here's
does
the thing
Yeezys
is,
look like.
They're
What are-
ugly as sin.
Pull
dude.
them up.
Like
Kako.
or like
Kako,
when
pull 'em up.
like the Reebok pumps came out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I gotta see a pair of these because I don't know.
They're hip-
I mean,
they're
look
hideous.
at these. All right. I'm into shoes, dude. All right, like I like
Those
shoes.
are cool fucking shoes. Those are Air Force Ones, actually.
They're Air Force Ones and they're gangster. Look, they're all freaking. I know, but these are all cloth.
Oh yeah, those are.
They're-
So,
dude,
so
and
for
they're-
whatever reason,
you
the
feel the-
crossover
feel how
with
wet-
Yeezys.
guys, these are $1,400.
Are these them? What's wrong
Oh
with them?
no,
Let me
no.
see.
No, these
Yeah,
are like
so
$50.
they have a
What are
seam
they?
There's some
straight up the
Yeezys
middle
that
of the
aren't
shoe.
like that, but
So
there's
right
other
here.
ones
Oh, here we go.
So the whole
Greatest
thing
of all
about
time
Yeezys
right
is
here?
The stitching comes together right here. There's like a big thread thing like right up the middle of the shoe.
You're saying like right here, like people can see you, man. You got to describe what
Oh,
you're
I'm
talking about.
sorry.
Yeah,
It was
those
showing
are-
heaven on his shoe. But yeah, $1,625 for that shoe Pago's pulling up.
What?
Those are the ones. Like if somebody says
Easy
Yeezy,
three
And
fifty
they're
turtle
talking
down.
shit about Lonzo Ball.
Big Baller Brand.
Yeah, the big baller brand shoes he came out with, $500. They're like crazy. $16.25.
So these made of like
Yeah.
spider
At the
silk or
bottom
something?
is-
What's
They
the?
got,
in the middle,
it's got to
there's a
be
giant
like
seam.
Virgin
Spun
Mary
by
silk.
Cambodian
my dad's
child
friend bought a
spiders.
pair.
Looking
This
on
is
top of
teenage
that, they're
son
ugly
documentary.
as shit looking.
This
Now-
one's called Blood and Semen.
Now I do like, I do like that retro Air Jordan. That's gangster. But anything other than that on that screen is crap.
So we go to the best places. What is it? It's
I feel how light those are.
Oh yeah, damn. Those are fucking sick.
I got them in Lincoln City when we were there salmon fishing. Had to go to the Nike outlet.
Dude, I got to go back up to Portland and get some because these Air Force Ones are the ones I got for Blake's wedding.
Yep.
And they're beat to shit, but
Yep.
they're still the most comfortable shoes I've ever owned.
I love them. I have
we
a
take
great
a break?
pair just like that.
You guys wanna take a
I
five?
did.
Yeah.
I'm a shoe fanatic. I
All right,
got like.
Everybody taking a quick 5 on the
Okay,
cast. We'll
sweet.
be back in just a minute.
Check bag, just one carry-on. Getting a check bag out of
recording now,
Denver
by the
is a fucking nightmare.
Is it?
Are we recording?
Yeah, I just decided to turn it on.
Yeah, we're back.
It's
Bullshit.
wasted.
So we're back
wasted
from our
product.
5-minute break.
So yeah, Joe's gonna box up his shit. We're gonna get it shipped out back
Yep.
down to him.
Yeah, then when I move in, I could have, some more normalcies. Like, I've been using somebody else's toothbrush for a while.
Gross.
Whoa.
You were telling me about the place you rented down there, which I thought was kind of cool. I never realized this until going to Colorado, but almost every house down there has a basement.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. Really, they're
A
not
basement
like a
in
They are,
tornado.
they are in
Colorado?
tornado zone.
Are they?
Big time, yeah.
Okay.
So,
In Colorado, huh?
yeah, big time. So when you're going through the Colorado airport, every bathroom you go into is a tornado storm shelter, and it says it on the outside, which made me think like, if a tornado comes through there and some guy just dropped a deuce, I'm like, fuck it, it's worth it. I'm
Roll the
pulling out.
dice.
I'll be like, tear off the roof. We need some fresh air in here.
Yeah.
But so the place you rented it's a basement that's finished with a bathroom, bedroom.
Yeah,
all
so
that?
when you go downstairs, it's got basically like a big room, which would be like the living room. They built in a bar, and they actually have built in like a tap center with like kegs that come out of the wall. Like you could tell it was like their man cave or something, whoever owned the house before. And then my bedroom's off in the corner, which is a 1-bedroom with a bath, like ensuite bathroom, and closet and all that stuff. So the downstairs is mine, so it's like a living room and stuff. But I'm sharing it with this guy that he's Vietnamese and doesn't speak a ton of English. Like,
Wait.
yeah.
This is. What do you the Vietnamese guy right now, or in the place you're moving into?
The place I'm moving into.
How'd you find this roommate?
So I was on
Craigslist.
So
Grinder.
yeah, I was on Grinder. So here's how it started out. I was looking for an apartment in Littleton because Littleton's kind of a cool town, and apartments down there you can find them. They're pretty easy. There's tons available, but they're really spendy. You figure between 450 to 550 square feet, you're anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800 a month. And there are like the higher end stuff is a little nicer, but most of those do include a nice gym. They have like clubhouses where like if you wanted to have a barbecue or something, there's big screen TV, there's barbecues that you could use, all that.
Nice.
They
Some
have
amenities.
that does include your internet usually. They have swimming pools at all of those and stuff like that. So there's some amenities to it for that price, but I'm like, I'll take a bare bones one just to not have to spend that much on rent because you could buy a house for another $500 a month, And I was like, okay, well, I want to find something just to get me by because our office is moving from Inglewood to Golden, where they make Coors Light.
They got Inglewood in Colorado.
I think there's the Inglewood everywhere.
Always up to no good.
Yeah. So
I feel
we're
like the Denver
The
version
wood.
of
yeah,
it is
so
probably
we're
not that
basically
bad.
moving like 12 miles up the road into Golden, and so I started looking at shared houses on Craigslist,
Ah.
and there's a ton of them that are like available for female only, female only, female only. I'm like, God damn it.
Awkward.
So I
Everybody
found
wants
this
to fuck
one,
with
and
me.
I respond to it, and I'm going back and forth talking about like when I could see it and like what the living arrangement would be. And then finally, it was like this gal goes, "This is my brother's house, so I'm setting this up for him." And then this is where I realized I might be a little bit racist.
Well, I just heard that in a Vietnamese accent, so I know I'm racist.
So I go to see the house, and it's the sister showing the house, and she's like 5 feet tall, 100 pounds soaking wet,
Smoking hot.
smoking hot. She
Yeah.
really is.
But
And
you were just like, ugh. I couldn't
And I'm
even
like,
picture.
and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I can't believe this dude has his 100-pound sister showing people the house off Craigslist. And I'm thinking like, this is where the racist part came in.
Our rapist part. Where
I was
you going
like,
with this?
I was like, she probably knows karate.
She's Vietnamese, not freaking
So what, Taekwondo or something?
Korean.
I
or
don't know.
something.
So
Yeah, what is a Vietnamese martial art?
There isn't one.
what's Taekwondo?
Taekwondo is Korean.
Oh, close enough.
Muay
And
Thai
then
is like
Muay Thai is Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I
They are
end
the
up.
worst Asians for sure. dude.
So I text him when I'm done, like, hey man.
Jiu-jitsu
So
in
I
Brazil.
still hadn't realized that it was his sister that I was communicating with the whole time. Until I text afterwards, I'm like, hey, I just met your sister. I like the place. I'm interested in the downstairs because it has its own bathroom. And she goes, this is Tam, that's her name. And she goes, my brother's number and name is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, weird. So I was like, well, I want to meet him and make sure we're a good fit because, like, not that him not speaking English is that big of a deal because we probably won't communicate much, but...
English, Joe.
English. But in the few times that we are going to have to, I need to make sure that he's not, like, a weirdo or something, and he's a nice guy, he's our age.
You're totally going to be murdered.
He's got some Louis C.K. fetishes. He's
Yeah.
come down in your
Make some
basement and
bomb-ass
jerk
soup.
off in front of you.
Yeah, so he's a... what was it? Quantitative analysis. A quantitative analysis for SBC.
Oh.
And
He's a dog chef.
Yeah. So he does have a dog, a border collie.
No cats.
Temporarily until he cooks
Temporarily.
His name is Delicacy.
So
We're sending this to your roommate.
So I met him, hung out with him for a few minutes, and then I went and right before I left town that Wednesday, I left him deposit and all that stuff. So he goes, well, when do you want to move in? You can move in today. And I was like, I'm leaving town. Plus, I don't want to have some weird like prorated rent for 6 days. So I was like, let's just start fresh on the 1st.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then your work's moving right around about the first two.
Yeah, so we're moving. We have a place, but they've got to do the build out for it. So there's like a big conference room that we're going to split and build into 2 offices. And then there's another conference room, and we only need 1. So
how do you say it puts the lotion on the skin in Vietnamese?
it puts the rotion.
Push the rotion on his-
Puts the rotion on the skin.
Screen.
Scrin.
That's
her?
sister.
That's the sister.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, good lord. Oh, good lord.
Yeah, that dude dirty.
I'm not
things.
into.
Good God.
I don't find Asian women typically attractive. It's just not my flavor. But
I don't
Like,
care.
did you take
if
this
you don't
picture?
find
but
that girl
no,
attractive,
but dude,
You know what I'm starting to
if
think?
you don't find that girl attractive, you don't
dude,
like
I'll
women.
start cooking top ramen. I don't care what it takes.
Dude, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Okay.
Make her some fried spaghetti.
Let's think about some of the Asian stereotypes for some of those countries: Thailand, Vietnam.
Lady boys.
Now let's sister, doing air quotes. My brother. I think
It's the
Joe's
same
moving in with a lady.
yeah.
Yeah, just remember there's no chicks with dick.
I'm just
Yes.
curious.
Well,
Oh my
if,
God,
if he
tits.
looks like this, I'll jack him off at least.
So I'm curious though.
Yeah.
How did you come about these photos?
This is her Facebook.
Oh,
So
so
she-
you're Facebook friends now?
No, so
you
she
stalk
goes.
people
She
on
goes.
Facebook.
Oh, you
Yeah,
stalked
stalk
her.
her. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
of course.
Okay.
You don't be like I'm the weird one.
I hope-
I'm pretty
I
sure
hope-
you accidentally just liked that photo.
I hope
by the way.
somehow she.
I was curious about that. I hope not. So,
That's the worst feeling in the world.
She goes, "Oh, what do you?"
Panic. Oh my God.
And she's like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" And I was like, "Well, I work for a roofing company."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I'm a real estate agent. I have houses I sell all the time." Now, it wasn't this clear when she was saying it because her
kept saying
English isn't great
loofing,
either.
and you were like, what the
Yeah,
hell
and
is
she's
she
like,
saying?
"Oh, you're a loofer," and I'm like, "Yeah." So,
Okay.
so she goes, "I have houses all the time I'm trying to sell that need to be re-roofed before the sale can go through. Here's my card."
She did not say re-roof.
Leave
Agents
said
did not
re-roof.
say re-roof.
This
still
is
seeing it.
listen.
Like R's are L's, L's are R's.
I'm paraphrasing for clarity, but that was what the intention was.
I want
here.
you to do it in character from now on.
Joe's pulling his eyes back at the side.
I hope somehow she hears this.
Oh boy.
Ching chong, ching ching chong.
Ching chong bing
I'm
bong.
Korean, motherfucker.
So yeah, that's my plan there. Gonna move in there, and I'm gonna live there
Interesting.
for a few months at least. It's just a month to month, and then I want to live in Golden ultimately because it's a really neat small town. It's a lot like Bend in the sense of like there's a neat downtown area. It's a little touristy, not too bad, but it's a really nice area to live.
Golden, sponsored by Coors Light.
Right, and
Oh,
there's
is that where the Coors Light place is?
that's where
main one?
the factory is.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you call it the
No,
brewery.
is this no? So
Brewed
I've
Golden,
heard,
Golden
They
Colony.
don't, they don't
Yeah.
deserve that
I've
name.
heard a rumor that there is a river that runs right above that factory, and there's an area right above the factory before the river gets to it where everybody pulls off and pisses in the river.
Well, that's how they get Coors Light.
I'm telling you, is that true?
I don't know. I haven't got up there to pee.
Okay, well you got to tell me.
Why I
We have
like Coors
bathrooms
Light better.
where I stay, so
I'm not joking. No, I'm not
Is it the
joking.
kind like a hole in the floor you have to squat
I've
over?
heard this from
I'll tell you what.
many people.
Come
that
up
is
at-
specifically
Come out to
legitimate.
Colorado. visit me out there.
And we'll go pee in the river?
And we'll try to piss in the Coors Light.
Okay.
Do you think they pay you a dividend of like
I don't
helping
know. I'm
them
glad we're
with
drinking
profits?
Bud Light.
So
Sponsored by Budweiser.
yeah, it's a really neat little town, and they have a light rail line. Like they have like a mass transit train that comes out from Golden, and you can go anywhere in the city on it. Pretty much, it's kind of like Denver's kind of like shaped like a big circle. I mean, and when I say Denver, I mean the little cities that are around it.
The metro
Suburbs.
Yeah. And so there's a light rail line that goes from Golden, which is far west, to DIA, which is far east, and then north and south as well.
DIA?
Denver International Airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
Which one is the which? There's two Denver airports, right?
there's
Which one's the evil one?
the one shaped like a swastika.
The one
DIA.
with the big horse statue.
There's one.
Oh,
shaped
that's
like
that's
a
DIA.
That's Denver
Yeah.
International. Okay.
Dude, the first time I flew in there with you, we were looking at some very odd paintings.
The
and,
murals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the murals. The one is like kids in gas masks
Yeah.
and like people behind them with machine guns and
Yeah.
like
It was a mural.
it's a
I've
big
been
mural
there
in the
before.
airport.
It's fucking
yeah,
weird,
it's
man.
fucking. There's actually it's a famous picture, but it was like the first thing I noticed when we got out of our gate and we're walking through the airport. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You're like, I'm questionable. Is this shit
like it's
gonna
cool.
happen?
It's cool artwork, but it's
Welcome to
odd
Denver.
placement
Well,
for it.
there's
I guess.
several.
Like-
There's several of
Welcome
them
to
in
Denver.
there
You're gonna die.
like that. There's several murals like that throughout the airport, and then that horse statue. I thought this was an urban myth, but I looked it up. The guy who fucking made the horse statue was killed by it. It fell on him just before they actually bought it from him.
And
He
they
was
still bought that.
he was
shit.
commissioned to make it for the airport.
Here's the Denver Airport swastika. You can see it kind of goes like
Holy shit! You are not
from the
joking.
Google Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched a special
yeah.
on TV a few months back about like the underground tunnels there.
Yeah.
And they didn't obviously show like everybody's speculative about all the weird shit that goes on there, but they showed this entire underground
That's
network of
statue.
tunnels that are unused now. It was built to originally be like a baggage movement system underground, and it is like decrepit and like they used it for a very short period of time and some equipment broke that was very expensive to replace, and they decided to stop using it. So there are just like barren tunnels all over underneath that airport.
I think you should
like
move in
water
there,
leaking
John.
through the ceiling and shit. Like they did like a tour of it. Your mom's a barren wasteland.
Mom's a barren tunnel.
I think we can all agree that. No, I'm not even. Gonna say
Well,
it.
that kind of brings me to my
Even
favorite
gonna
story
say
about
it.
James's mom.
Oh, okay.
So
'Cause I got plenty about yours.
Yo, yeah. These are not the same.
Oh, okay.
So if you know James's mom, she's like the sweetest lady ever. She's like 5 feet tall. She's pretty quiet and meek for the most part, you know. Which James's dad is the opposite. He's like James. He's kind of loud. He's rambunctious. He's funny.
yeah,
you
he
know?
was at James's bachelor party for us.
right.
Oh yeah.
in
Rusty and Jeff's garage.
We should probably stop that story here.
Okay, we'll stop it.
Might end in divorce. So this last summer, my dad, he had some problems with his truck. We were going to pick it up, and we were borrowing a trailer that James's dad had. So we pick up the trailer. We tried to load the truck, but it's too big, so it won't fit on it. So we take it back, and James's dad comes out of the house right when we pull up in his whitey tighties.
Mind you, it's like 5 in the evening.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty early.
And,
And
like-
he had just gotten home.
Yeah, they pulled in I guess right before us, and James is all, "Dad, what are you doing in your underwear?" I'm like, "I don't know. I walk around the house in my underwear. Ha ha ha." You know, I'm not thinking much of it. And he's like, "Oh man, I just got off work." You know, and James is like, No, Dad, it's really weird. Why don't you go put some pants on?" He's like, "It's my fucking house. I got an acre of land out here. I don't care. Don't worry about it." And James is pushing it.
Like a good 5 minutes go
Yeah.
by before I mention it again, but I was like, no, seriously, it's fucking weird you're in your whitey tighties. Like,
All right, I gave you 5 minutes.
So he goes, "Fine, you really want to know? I was trying not to say it, but I just got done fucking your mom." And he's like, and he goes into some detail. He was like, "Man, I was on top of her going to town when you guys pulled up," and I'm like, my face
Joe
just
is
lights
fucking,
up.
he's on cloud 9 because he's been talking about fucking my mom and shit.
As far back
forever.
as I can remember. And so the funny joke
Joe
part
gets a
about it
visual.
is that his mom's kind of a little church lady, you know, and so to say these crude things is even funnier. So then I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is fucking hilarious." And James all, "Don't even say anything, motherfucker." And I'm like, "Oh my god." I was like, "You think he came inside of her?" And I'm just like, just poking and poking. So his dad takes off, and here comes his mom, happy as a fucking clown, skipping outside.
You say happy as a clam?
Dude, she is on cloud. She is so happy. I've never seen this sight. Hi, guys! And she's just like, I'm like, oh my god. I was like, you think she's that happy because she just got fucked? And I'm just like, just laying it on. And
Your mom comes hard.
mom-
That might have been one of the best days of Joe's life.
I'm like, do you think he came inside of her and is dripping in her wet underwear right now? And he's just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
That is fucking
Oh,
great.
Oh, for everybody that doesn't know, Joe is very crude about
And,
everybody's mom.
and
It doesn't
James's
matter.
parents might actually hear this one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, they
Yeah.
probably will.
That makes it even funnier for me.
That's actually yes.
Love you guys.
Oh.
So yeah, that was a pretty good time. Now every time I see his mom, that's first thing that pops in my head.
First thing he always says to me too.
Yep.
The underwear or just the
Just
simple
the whole
fact
the
of
general
everything?
story. I don't think about her underwears.
Have you
Well,
guys?
you were.
This is a good segue. Have you guys ever, back in the day when you were children, caught your parents fucking?
I
Yeah.
never have.
I
You
never
never
have.
did?
Never.
Nope.
I never have.
I'll tell you my story.
I've heard
You
it.
go
So-
first. I have one
All right,
too.
so
Caught
we
somebody
had
else's
this
parents fucking.
big like 5-bedroom house when I was a kid, and when you first walked in, the garage was to the left, but the people that owned the house before us made it into a daycare, so they built in a full set like kitchen in there and turned the garage into another room, and then built a detached garage on the back of the house. So we always called it. It didn't have like the central air and heat set to it, so we always called it the cold room because it was ice fucking cold in there. But that was my parents' bedroom.
Yeah.
And when you walked in, it was like the laundry room was built in like those like doors that close and then it's just flat, you know.
Closet
And
door.
then there was like a normal kitchen with counters and a stove and everything here, and that they use that for cooking for the daycare and stuff. And then you just walk around the corner, and it was the living room area, and it had 2 bathrooms in there, just single like pissers. And the reason for that was that it was a little boy's room and a little girl's room. That makes sense. But the toilets were real low and shit, so it was real weird in there.
It's a squatty potty fucking built in.
Yeah, and it was this like light. It was this light pink color, and so nobody really wanted to be in there. And the walls were real weird. They like stuccoed them or something and put some texture, but they like pressed the texture on and pulled their hand away, and so it made like these little spikes everywhere, which I thought was really sadistic because it was a kid's fucking playroom, right? You bump into the wall, right, dude? It would take skin for sure. So I only told you that part because I thought that was funny. But so one night we've got some friends staying over, and Christina has a friend that is like wants to go like roam the neighborhood or something, whatever kids do. We're like 12 or 13 at the time. So I'm like, oh, we need to get something out of the desk in my parents' room. And I'm like, we had like, when we moved in, the guy that owned the house gave us like seriously like 150 keys. Every door on the house had a couple keys for it, like the copies and stuff, but there was a lock on every fucking door. It was super weird. And there was even one part where you stood in there and you could look in one mirror and see through the entire house. They were all set up like reflective, and it's kind of weird.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Not to mention that the cold room sounds like the title of a horror movie.
yeah. Well,
How does this lead to you
I'm gonna-
catching
I'm
your
gonna
parents?
say
Hold
that
on.
seeing his parents
it was just
fucking
it was a
horror
weird
movie.
house is what I was getting at. So we know that the only way to get in there
You saw
without
him
them.
fucking in that plethora of mirrors.
So
Yeah.
no, so they're in their bedroom, which is shut off from the rest of the house, and it has like a big fire door, like a garage would. But like if you walk straight into the house, that was to the left. You go a little bit further, you get into the regular living room. There's a sliding glass door here, but on the outside or to the like right in front of you, but to the left of that is the sliding glass door for that bedroom. So I get that big bundle of keys because the sliding glass door to their bedroom has a key, and their door is locked. What the who? Well, they locked their door because they're fucking, and I had no idea. I get the key to go to
You
the.
didn't hear it?
Oh,
No, dude. I get the key and go to the sliding glass door.
wait,
It's
how
a
old are
fire
you
door.
here?
I'm like 12 or 13,
12, okay.
like 8th grade. So however old you are then.
Just
Old
old,
enough
enough
to
to
know.
have
Old enough to
your
know what
whole
fucking
life
is.
changed.
So I put the key in the door and I open it, and my dad like jumps up, like dick out, and I hear my mom making noise that I didn't want to ever hear her make.
No.
And I was like, and I froze, and he froze, and he's like, get out! And so I run, drop the keys and everything, and my sister's like, did you get it? And I'm like, no. And her friend's like, I'm going in there. I was like, no. And she's all, why? I was like, you can never ask me why. You can't go in there.
Oh no.
And never was a word said again.
Oh man, that is bad.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is coming from Joe's mom, and everybody's got to understand. I've seen her throw a full-size Powerball at him. And when I say a full-size Powerball, it was a Jeep, the pink one. And
Why did you have a pink Jeep?
it wasn't his, it was for his sister.
No, I
Yeah,
wanna
that's
say
what
it
he
was
told
his.
all of his friends.
Right? Well, you know, it's like
I
a
cruised that
moped.
thing
They're fun to
before.
ride, don't let your friends catching you.
Same
But
with Fat Girls.
literally through this thing, probably I would say a good 20 feet through
Yeah.
the air. And he barely missed it coming out the gate. And then another time, I watched her. We both walked out of the back door, and she always would yell. I mean, just got that,
She's a little
whatever it
crazy.
was, you know. Fine, get the fuck out of here. We're trying to go out and have some fun.
It's like high school time.
Yeah, Joe's walking out the back door, and she just chucks her coffee cup at him.
Full of coffee.
Full of coffee.
Oh no.
He fucking, no joke, like a ninja. Ha! Catches that thing. She got fucking pissed, grabbed her shoe, woo! Threw the shoe at her. Bat!
Like a ninja, man.
Fucking-
Man, mom
she
can throw
was
shoes.
crazy. She would come chasing us out the fucking door, out the back door, through the fucking fence, yelling. And then we'd take off down the road.
Rich always said she reminded him of Joe Pesci. Oh, you motherfucker.
You motherfucker, you!
Oh man, that's good.
You
stuff.
stinky horse manure smelling motherfucker, you!
My ex-wife's dad brought a Russian mail order bride back from Moldova, and she was back for maybe a month living with us.
The one of 300?
The what?
The one of 300?
Yeah. So I'm going to the house to get something. Corey sent me upstairs to grab something out of the loft, and I get to the top of the stairs and
No.
around the corner, and she is head as far deep into his crotch as she could be, mouthful of his dick.
Nice.
Gross.
In your house?
No, well, because we lived in like the garage of their house, and so I'd just gone in to get
You
something.
saw Lance's dick?
No, I didn't see his dick.
You saw the
I
back
saw
of her
head with a
Saw the
mouthful
back
of
of
his
her
dick.
Did you see a boop
And
coming
I
out the
instantly
back?
turned around, and Lance like jumped because he saw me walk around the corner, and I saw that, and I turned around and I was back downstairs. So that's the closest I've ever come to seeing.
The question is when he
Parents
jumped,
fucking-
did it scare her and did she bite?
So Blake,
That's
you
right when he came.
Blake, you
He looked you in the eyes and just came.
walked in on your phone.
Yeah, so the house that I grew up in was this super duper old house, and I don't know what the style of house is called, but there's no hallways, where just every room is connected to the
Railroad.
next room.
Yeah.
So
That's fucking weird.
the room that I slept in
No hallways?
was shared with Brandon, the middle brother, and then my youngest brother. So I was like 11 or 12. Zach was 1 maybe. So he's still sleeping in like a crib, right? And we shared this room that had like an archway in between this room, and there's no other way through the house but through my parents' room right here. They slept in there, and the crib was kind of like right in the middle. And I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and I was hearing these noises. I used to have this weird recurring dream when Zach was a little tiny baby that he died all the time. And I was just constantly freaking out, stressed out little 11-year-old kid.
And it
so,
was fueled by your parents' sex noises?
yeah, so I hear Zach making all these noises in his crib, and I'm like, oh, something's wrong. I got to go check on him. And I didn't want to wake anybody up, so I'm sneaking up to the crib, and I look in there, and he's dead asleep, but the noises haven't stopped. And so I look over to my left, and there's my parents just
Door open?
You know, and then I was scared to move anymore.
Oh, so you stayed and
Because
watched?
I didn't want them to know that I was there. And so I just kind of like ducked down, and I figured I will wait till it gets quiet or so. I don't know what I was thinking. But I heard this exact exchange of words.
Oh, God.
It was like noises, noises, noises. And then I heard my mom say, all right, I'm done. You can get up. I'll never forget that.
Burned into your brain.
Burnt into my brain. I went back to bed, couldn't really sleep the rest of the night, and I've just had it with me forever for the rest of my life.
That's what you call putting in work. It's not fun. You just have to
No,
do it.
you guys, I'm texting Holly right now. Next time you finish with Blake, say these exact words.
I'm sure she'd like that.
I'm not gonna tell her why. I'm just gonna be
terrible.
like, just make sure.
I will say this:
As
I've
soon as
never
you're-
seen it. I've never seen my parents having sex, but I heard it one time, and I was 8th grade.
This is your stepdad or your real dad?
My real dad and my stepmom.
And your stepdad.
Oh.
Real dad and my
It was the most
stepdad.
horrible thing
Plot
I've ever
twist.
heard.
I imagine
And
Darla
then-
makes
so let me
name sounds.
finish the story. So I had 2 friends staying the night that night. I had my buddy Mark Llewellyn and David Capelli staying the night with me, and then My brother was up there because me and my brother shared. It was a bonus room upstairs, so it was a really big room, like the whole length of the house. So we shared that room, and it was just two.
Mark
split off.
Llewellyn, is he the one that worked at St. Vincent de Pizzle?
Yes. Yeah, but that was Timmy Johnson was the one that called it St. Vincent
Okay,
de Pizzle.
so we're hanging out one day, like this is like probably 10 years later, and I'm like, oh, where do you work? And he's like, St. Vincent de Pizzle. And I'm like, what? And he's all, well, it's St. Vincent de Paul, but it doesn't sound that cool, so I say St. Vincent de Pizzle.
I did community service at St. Vincent de Pizzle one time.
Yeah. Same Mark, and we're in 8th grade. First, I mean, I'd known him for probably, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, something like that. And we were going to sneak out because we always snuck out, in the middle of the night. And our bedroom was perfect. Like, you go right out of our bedroom window onto the rooftop, go down the roof, hit the fence, come right back down. You come up the same exact way.
In Providence?
In Providence, yeah. And so, I opened the door. Fuck, it was fucked up.
Oh.
I opened the door to see if I can hear if they're up or not,
Someone
I
was
start
up.
listening, you just hear this.
Ugh.
And I'm like, oh,
I'm more grossed out by that than my own
I'm
parents.
grossed out by it. Just talking about it. I threw up in my mouth just now. But, so I had to. I'm like, you guys.
Don't listen to my parents.
shit.
Fuck.
I'm like, listen to this
My
shit.
parents, fuck.
So,
Oh shit.
I'm like, hold up. All right, we're good. So we roll out. This is the night that we all ran away. So,
That's the last time I saw my parents.
I'm not joking. You. So we go out. All we did ever when we would go out, we'd smoke cigarettes because we thought we were cool. If we had some pot, we'd smoke some pot. But we just stayed out late at night. We'd go to Costco parking lot and shit like that, just roam around.
Oh, yeah.
Hit you know.
As kids do.
As kids do. Come back, and as we come back, we're rolling around the corner, and our bedroom light's on, and I'm like, oh shit, we're fucked. If bedroom light's on, we're fucked because we didn't leave it on. So I'm like, well, fuck it. So we all just come walking in the front door, all 4 of us, come in the front door, go upstairs, and my dad comes up, makes all of us come downstairs. We all got to sit around the table on chairs, right? And he's like, you guys shouldn't have been out doing this, blah, blah, blah. You're lucky I don't call your parents to Mark and
I'd have threw down the
David.
gauntlet, man. I heard you fucking, so I left.
Right? So, I didn't say that. But so, we're all sitting there, right? And they go back. They're like, you have to sit at this table all night long. You can't go back to bed. You have to sit here until the morning. And in the morning, we're going to take you guys home. Blah, blah, blah. So, we're sitting at the table. They go back to bed. And we're like,
5 minutes later.
we all no. We all start looking at each other and we're like, fuck this. I'm not gonna do this. This is bullshit. So one of us, I think I told one of my friends, I was like, you walk up and knock on the door and say you gotta go to the bathroom. They'll tell you can go to the bathroom. They'll tell me fucking hold it.
Right.
But they'll tell you can go to the bathroom. So one of them goes up, knocks on the door, says they need to go to the bathroom. Well, then, so we took that as, he comes back and sits down. I go up like I'm him, going upstairs to go to the bathroom. Went into the bedroom, got all of our cigarettes, all of our shit that we needed, and fucking, we come back downstairs, and no bullshit, we all just literally got up, walked out the front door, fucking ran out the front door, slammed that motherfucker behind us, and took off all the way up past, that dead end, and there was all trees out there. Fucking went all the way out in the trees. We had a little kick-it spot out there. We slept all night out there, right? We thought we were cool as shit.
Yeah.
This is a great idea, right?
Shawshank Redemption.
Right? We're escaping.
Through a mile of shit.
Yeah, and fuck, we wake up first thing in the morning, dawn's cracking, and I look up, and you could see from, we were on a little perch, but up, below some lava rocks where we were, hidden, but you could poke your head up and see. I look up, and I just see 2 cowboy hats coming down the road, and one of them's my dad, and one of them's Mark's dad, and the other one was Darla.
They knew where your kicking spot was?
They knew where we were going, right? So we're like, shit, wake everybody up, fucking, bam, we're out,
Camp's
right?
being invaded.
We go all
Cowboys
the way
are
out.
coming.
We go all
There's
the
some
way out,
cowboys
by Skyview.
Uh-huh.
Fucking, we got all the way out past Skyview, all the way into, we found a bum camp out there. Middle of nowhere. And
you
it
live
was
here
set
forever.
up.
This is now our
We
home.
heard some
Dude, it
bums
was set up,
fucking
too. It was
full
set up
circle.
tent fucking city and shit. We're like, there's nobody there. We're like, fuck it, this is where we're gonna kick it, No bullshit, dude. Fucking Mark's dad tracked us the whole way through the fucking dude, tracked our footprints all the way there. Found us, and we ran again. Finally, he didn't get us again. So then the next, like, we stayed out like probably 3
You know what
nights.
it was?
Are you shitting me?
I'll tell you what,
No
man.
joke.
Darla probably sniffed you guys out with that big ass nose. Dude, Darla's got like a 3-inch nose beyond her face.
Well, and then it's not so much the fact that the nose is really
Pointy
huge,
like an arrow,
but
man.
it's pointy, and the nostrils go all the way to the end.
Yeah.
So it's not even like you got a
Like
big
those
nose with
sticks
little
you used to
nostrils.
find
Like,
water.
I used to fuck with Evelyn when we were little. I'm like, yeah, she can smell us, man.
me and Joe be in our bedroom, stealing my dad's hams, cracking them, and just shotgunning those things, trying to get
I'm fucking
drunk.
super curious how this ended. Did you end up back at home in a few days?
So it ended up, we stayed out, and this is when they were building the parkway, right? The parkway wasn't even going yet. So if you go from, what is that? So from the Butler Market entrance onto the parkway,
yeah.
there's a big ass juniper tree on the right hand side, like right as you start merging. There's a big ass juniper tree. We slept underneath. We stole two blankets from some bums.
Bum jizz and bum piss all over it.
Yeah,
but
ice and shit.
we slept underneath that tree that night. Went over to Shopco, shoplifted some fucking like circus peanuts and fucking
Easy,
shit like that
statute
to
of limitations.
eat, you know. And then we realized this is fucking stupid. And David Capelli's mom worked at Sears, and he was with us, right? So he'd been gone for 3 days too. Well, he calls his mom. She's like, "Come here." So we go to Sears. We tell her, "Oh, my dad's so bad, blah blah blah," you know. And she's like, "You got to go back to your dad." So she calls our parents, and we went home. And that was what it was. But it was 3
shit for that.
Oh, dude.
How long were you
I was
grounded?
grounded for probably a month and a half, 2 months. And I cleaned horse shit every day.
Did they have
because of
horse
that.
shit back then too?
Oh, yeah.
They lived in the city.
Yeah. Yeah, he kept his horses out off the Sheets Market Road
Dude,
at Mary's house.
When we were kids, right after this event, they moved out to Tumalo. And they bought this little ranch, and they could board probably, 8 horses out there?
Nobody understands what I had to go through.
So Darla...
Joe does.
Darla was just... She was a really controlling, weird bitch, right? And his dad was just like, hey, whatever Darla says. Which is weird, because his dad is a really stern, strong man, but for some reason, he was fucking... He was a slave to that pussy.
Yeah.
I used to be like, maybe she's giving him a nose job, like the big old nostrils and shit. Because,
A little prostate stimulation.
right?
Oh,
In
shit.
retrospect, at that time, they weren't much older than we are now. I mean, we were, 17, 16?
In retrospect, they were probably late 30s, early 40s.
Right? But, and Evan's dad's, hardcore cowboy, really good at it. He
Through and through.
trained horses out there and stuff, and he's a really great guy. I don't want to mislead you on that, but so we'd go out there, and Evan couldn't go out on a Friday night unless all his chores were done, because they had slave labor,
Yeah.
which included not only cleaning stalls, feeding horses, moving them from watering, moving them from one arena to the other, or pens, or whatever he had to do.
Or if one horse had to go out.
Every
bring
now
the
and
other
then,
ones
they
in.
had this horny ass horse that would get out and go run in front of the
Dusty.
other horses.
Dusty.
And it was like a famous horse for some reason. I don't remember what that deal
Famous
was. but-
Starduster.
Yeah, I don't know why he was famous, but
It's bloodlines.
okay. So
He still got that horse.
Does he?
That horse is still alive. You know that? He's
How
like
old do
23.
horses live to?
Like 30.
This one's 23 now. They'll live to up to 30, but that's
That's
pushing it.
Yeah.
So but how? So sorry, this is sidetrack. But
It depends on the bloodline as well.
what
So-
about as far as being able to ride the horse?
Till 28.
28,
really.
yeah. And like I said, it depends on the bloodline. Thoroughbreds are different, quarter horses are different, Arabians are different, Peruvian Passos are different.
Yeah, all
There's a
have different
bunch of
lengths of
different
lives.
bloodlines.
and you could technically ride it till it dies,
Yeah.
but it's kind of fucked up at some point.
Well, look, Gretchen
Faster.
just picked up that one horse that
She's got
you
quarter
can walk
horses.
it. You can walk it and trot it a little bit, but you can't break that thing out in a run. It's old. It needs to just be a pet horse. you know?
So back to the horse farm. He also had to buck hay off the fields, and his dad would have the hay baled, and then manually
I baled it. I worked for the baler.
manually pick it up off the field and load it on a trailer.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot of fucking work.
Evan couldn't go hang out unless all this work was done.
Yeah.
So a lot of times Friday he couldn't hang out, but I could stay there. And even school nights I'd stay there all the time. His dad and me got along well. I was probably one of his only friends that wasn't
A degenerate.
Degenerate.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that age, degenerate's relative.
But the difference is when me and Joe met, when me and you met, we became best friends pretty much right off the bat, and we've been best friends and brothers ever since then. And so it was just a simple fact of Joe cared enough to want me to be out and having fun that he stayed to help me do my shit.
So I learned how to do ranch work. I grew up in the city, man, in California. So I learned how to like buck hay and all
I
this
can't
shit.
see you.
And
bucking
mind you, let's put this buck and hay to a perspective so everybody knows. We're talking for 4 years straight, 3 cuttings a year on 2 different fields. One was a 60-acre field and one was an 18-acre field. The 60-acre field, 1 cutting was 2,500 bales. The 18-acre field, 1 cutting was about 800 bales.
So his dad,
we had to hand buck them off the field. So one of us would walk.
Did you have those hooks?
No.
You were doing it by just
Fuck the
grabbing
hooks.
strings?
Fuck the
I tried the
Yeah.
hooks, man.
Fuck the
I've
hooks,
never even
dude.
used the hooks.
No, the
Back
hooks
when I
are
used to-
bullshit.
They'll rip a bale apart.
Yeah, they will, but it's.
I got good
the-
with the hooks.
No,
I would prefer to do
your
that with
center of
strings.
gravity is so much better without. Dude, if you try to take hooks and say, like, sometimes we'd be standing and you have to get 3 to 4 to 5
high.
bales up
Yeah,
high,
yeah.
right? And you're like this trying to do that.
I'll tell you what.
Because you have to, with hooks, you hook in, but you have to pull out.
The hooks
Right.
are okay if you're just walking forward with
Yes.
it,
Yeah.
but after about 5 bales, you've used the smaller muscles in your arms, you're exhausted.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole thing with buck and hay is using your whole body. You grab it here, and as you lift up,
So you're grabbing
you
the
lift
top
up
of-
here, but
Explain
you
it.
lift and you explode
Yeah,
it.
it's
Right.
a
So
clean,
you,
it's a
yeah,
clean and
you,
jerk.
It's a complete-
So you
yeah.
lift the top of the twine, one hand on each.
Yeah.
You pull it towards yourself and knee it out.
Right.
Yeah,
Push
and
it.
you
So-
knee it up. So if you got to get up, you actually had to flip the bale upside down. So from here, and nobody else could do this really but me or my dad. But you got pretty good.
I
at
could
it.
go up to about like eye level, but
Yeah.
anything above that.
Yeah, I'd kick them up as high as that ceiling.
And they're what, 80-pound bales?
Yeah, they're 85 pound. But I'd kick them up over that ceiling level because my dad would be up there and we had to get him up there. So it's from here, you lift up, you push it. And as you pushed it, it let go, he'd grab it.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
then pull it up.
So in this process, we would go out there to this field, and at first he just had like a horse trailer we were loading in the back of. I did that once.
Yup.
And then his dad finally like rented a...
No, we got it from Nick.
an
We
elevator?
we just borrowed
So
it.
the way it worked was you had a truck that pulled a flatbed, a big ass flatbed.
I love the
and it had an
flatbed.
elevator on the
Nice
side, and it really was driven by like the wheel, the
The
movement.
wheels of the movement of the trailer, yeah.
You would scoop the
It had arms
Hay
like this on the side of
into-
it. And you
yeah.
would run right, just drive the trailer right along next to the bale, and the bale would sit in the arms, come up, and it had a
like a-
hooking
yeah,
system
that would lift it up to
pull
level.
it up
Yeah.
to you. So then one guy would actually grab it off of that as soon as it came up, and then kick it to the guy that was stacking. But you only can do that for so long, as
Till it
far
gets
as
too
that
tall.
gets up before
Yeah.
you get
So
too
every now and then
tall,
you'd have to
then
crank
you
it a little
to-
higher. So
Yeah.
we're doing this kind of shit, you know, and then we would be working our ass off on a Friday, right? And then we would go, all right, we're exhausted, but we're still going to go out. And I had a car back then.
Mm-hmm.
Evan didn't. And so we would get ready to go out, and Darla would be like, last Wednesday, I didn't like the way you looked at me when you walked by me, so you can't go now. And Evan would be like, what the fuck? Why did I do all that work then? Why didn't you tell me that before I did it all? And he would explode. And then his dad would be like, you can't talk like that, blah, 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 you know, the whole deal. Maybe he wasn't cursing him out, but he was like,
I didn't curse.
what the heck? You know, stuff like that. So she would do this
Fiddlesticks.
all the time. And I remember this one time, we're out there, and his dad had this old-ass Ford tractor. Like, it was probably like
It was a
30
blue
years
one.
old at the
blue
time.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had
I
this
learned how
weird
to drive
thing where
stick on that thing.
it had a shifter in the middle,
Yeah.
and like the left side had the gas and the brake, and the right side had the clutch.
Yep.
So you would have to gas it, and I've later found out in life it was supposed to be a hook between the two. So you just press in the clutch and it stops it at the same time. But they
But it
didn't
was
have the
broken.
hook, so you had to get good at clutching, put it in neutral, let off, and hit the brake.
Oh yeah, you had to do all kinds of shit.
So we're out there. Evan's got to build this fence that runs the whole length of their long ass driveway. And Evan's like, "All right, man, pull the tractor up here." Brrr, I bulldozed all his work he just did, and he's like, "You motherfucker!" Right? I'm like, "I'm so sorry." So we got to redo all this work. We finally get this fence built, and they're like those poles that you get, the wooden like pressure treated poles.
Yeah.
And then you put some sideways and some vertical, and that's how you kind of make this fence to keep the horses in.
Well, we had all poles, right? And then we had we had railing poles that went
Yeah,
this way,
yeah.
but we'd cut them at a 45-degree angle, so they didn't sit butt to butt. They'd sit like this, and then we'd anchor them through.
So his dad says, what I want you to do is put them up there, and then you take these lag bolts and this big like power drill, and you drive them in there.
Yeah.
So we do all this work, and all the poles are like a little bit like warped and bent, so they're not perfect straight runs. We get all done. It starts raining on us. I already ran the thing over, so we got to redo a bunch. Yeah. We get it all done, and Darla's like, those are all a little crooked. I want you to take them apart and redo them.
Oh my god!
And she did
no
this
joke.
shit every weekend,
no
dude.
joke.
Every weekend she had some reason why he was punished. Mm-hmm. But whenever he's grounded, I can still go over there and kick it.
Yeah,
So-
they'd let Joe over. Like,
So-
even if I was
Yeah,
grounded,
because
Joe
they were
could
getting
come to the
fucking
house.
work done. They were
Yeah.
smart motherfuckers.
So,
True.
so one time,
Joe was there like brown labor.
so
Completely.
Evan's girlfriend at the
How
time.
can we
this
have a slave without calling it a slave?
Evan's girlfriend at the time, this girl Chantel, she lived out in Redmond, but she had a car. So we can't leave because they'll hear my car leaving down the gravel driveway, right?
Yeah.
So the plan is, and I don't know how we talked to her because it's not like we could text back then.
I called her.
Called her.
Yeah, I had a phone in my room.
Oh,
remember?
okay. So-
Asked her parents, is Chantel?
No,
So
Chantel.
she's like-
Chantel. This is the cool thing about Chantel. She moved over here by herself. She was 18, and she was in high school. And so I met her in junior year. She was a senior, and we started dating. And she lived over here by herself, had her own pad already.
Is this the same Chantel East Side?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's gonna come pick us up one night. We just gotta jump out the window, not use the front door so we don't make noises, and then go up. So Evan jumps out, and I go to jump out. I don't
eats
realize
shit.
the window is like 15 feet off the ground. I'm thinking it's a first story window.
It was first story, and it was not
Dude,
that high. It
I'll
was
tell you
like
what, it was
7 feet.
It was high enough that I couldn't jump back in. I gave him a boost. He came and opened the front door. Then when we got back, so we bailed out of there. We went to Redmond and drank Mike Hard lemonades and partied or whatever.
Yeah.
It's probably Zima at that time.
Yeah, it
whatever
was, yeah.
it was. But dude, those were good times. You don't know how many times I snuck out of that window to go with Chantel. Oh, dude, she'd sneak in there to come with me. She'd make it in that window
Literally.
too. Yes.
Chantel weighed 85 pounds.
Shame.
She barely jumped. The wind would
she
carry
was
her
a-
up.
She was a good-looking girl. She was a good-looking girl.
We got to wrap this up, guys. Paco's got to go to work.
All right.
We
First
really
day back.
appreciate you guys coming by for the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
That was good.
Well, Joe, you're
We're gonna
leaving
have
us.
to do it again?
You're leaving
Absolutely.
us forever, so we're forgetting.
I think we are going to figure out how to do a Skype joint.
No,
thing
Joe doesn't
now and
matter
then.
anymore.
And
But
that'd
Evan,
be awesome.
but Evan, you're always welcome back.
I'm back. I'll be back
Thanks, guys.
for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for having me. I probably talked way too much, but
No, it's
it's
good.
fun.
It's good.
Yeah, that's-
You were our featured guests today, so
That's
yeah,
right.
This is about you guys.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you guys, and thanks everybody for listening.
At least two of us will be back next week.
There it is.
I'll probably be back next week too.
Well, you will be if he's dead.
How was Evan's audition? Was it good?
Call him not
See-
Paco.
As long as my audition
All
went
right,
well.
everybody. Everybody,
Peace out.
we'll catch you next time.
We need some outro music.
Dude, I'm gonna come up with something. I still want to take some audio screenshots from like Rick and Morty and
Can you play back
make like
like
an
10
intro
seconds of that?
video?
See how it
yeah.
sounds?
I think we should make it some intro. Not even like